Marie Banfield. I had no intentions of speaking tonight, but as a parental rights advocate in New Hampshire, I've been asked by a few parents to speak on their behalf, actually several parents. I want to thank you, first of all, for your service by serving on the board, but would also like to remind you that you are elected representatives in the community for the people, and therefore your duty is to serve the people in the community. You are to oversee the operations, not become a roadblock to those who elected you. I would first like to ask you to consider a self-evaluation on why parents need to speak through a spokesperson because they fear making public statements. That is disturbing, to say the least. They pay taxes. It is their children that you are serving. If parents are not comfortable making public statements, what are you going to do to make sure that their comments are welcome and without fear of reprisal? Years ago, I sat down and had a discussion with the principal at a private school. He was beloved by the families he served. His motto was that if one parent came to him, he filed that as a complaint, made note of it. If 5 or more came to him, he knew he had to take action. Superintendent Ryan and members of the school board, you have a lot more parents than 5 back here. Do you want to be supported, or do you want to continue to divide this community into factions where one faction wants to remove you from your position or not? As a parental rights advocate, I believe all voices need to be heard. Denying students an in-person education causes many of your students academic and emotional harm. I use the term harm because I've engaged with these parents the last school year, and I've heard their stories. They know me, and I know them. When other districts were serving all of their families with in-person learning, some of the SAU 16 kids were home suffering. Your parents knew it, spoke up, and yet the schools remained closed in this district until the governor stepped in. The prom situation, the boy who was removed from class for wearing a thin blue line flag, along with a lack of privacy on mental health evaluations and surveillance of your children, has put this district in a position of having to pay out settlements if parents choose to sue. That's infringement upon their civil rights and fiscally irresponsible. With limited time, I would ask that you read through the petition that is now circulating. I think I saw 400 signatures on there tonight. It is growing. For those of you who do not know about the petition, please see me. You will see a list of what you need to do to address the problems plaguing this district. It's a good starting point. I respect those who want their kids at home during this pandemic, who want their kids masked, or who have had their families vaccinated. The parents that I know feel the same way. They're not trying to force anything on any other kids. They don't want it forced on their kids. You cannot ignore the many who differ with your views. Look for ways to serve all of your parents in this district. The district has been divided. I hope it can recover. But in order to recover, you need to seek unity. Your leadership is dividing this community. Know it and understand it, and it will get worse. So now I'm going to talk to you about what you presented tonight. Because I've researched education, and I've researched your resolutions. The last time I filed a right to know request, they paid $16,000. I don't know if that amount has gone up or not. Two Revolutions is basically an organization to implement competency-based education. And if you don't know what competency-based education is, look back to the 1990s. It was called outcome-based education. And it was thrown out of states and schools because it was used as a way to change your child's values and attitudes. Yeah. So that's why you're reading on their website. That's why you're reading that. That's what they're hired to do. Change your child's values and attitudes. Now you know what they're going to do. They put it out in front of you. That's competency-based education. Competencies will eventually turn into digital values. Did you know that? Your community college system has already told us to the legislature. How's that going to be tracked? They talked about tracking. and data privacy, it was laughed off. Laughed off, like, huh, we're good with that. No, you're not good with that. No, you're not good with that. They're going to track your students. Did you know in Texas, students have to pick their career path in 8th grade? That's competency-based education. They're tracking. This is a movement to a European type style of education, where it's workforce focused. Notice I didn't say academics. Notice that when you watch that presentation right there, where was the talk on academics? Where was your metrics? Where was data? Why this is being done. If you're focusing on everything else but proficiency, then maybe you won't focus on proficiency. If your kids don't know the basics, well, you know what? Okay, they're doing this. They have the right attitude on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And believe me, I share that man's views. It is very important to support minorities and to support a good academic education. In history, slavery, racism, it's all important. Nobody disagrees with that. But your competencies, and I've seen it through social emotional learning, they're going to assess. Where you do a competency, you have to assess it. So how's your child going to answer that question on what this company's doing? So what are they going to do? They're going to test you. They're going to assess you. And that's what all of that was data collection. Massive amounts of data collection. Look at your policy. I sat on the Bedford task force to develop a policy for their students, the data privacy policy. I don't think it was that great. I tried. You're one person when you're on these task forces. You do what you can. But let me tell you something. Competencies go to your colleges. Yep. That when your students apply to college, your students' competencies go to those colleges. The digital badges. Be very careful. If they're going to do something like this, oh no, you need to have a policy in place. FERPA was gutted. That is this federal Student Privacy Act. That was gutted. So all of their data can go and leave the district if they call themselves a researcher. That was gutted. And it's worse. It's worse than that.
So there's a lot of other folks for public input, and you've had the floor for almost 8 minutes. I'm just respectfully asking to be asked that.
I certainly will do that. I appreciate your courtesy. I just want to make sure that I covered everything.
Take your time.
When they say they collected anonymously, as was stated earlier, your kids each have a unique pupil identifier number. Did you know that the state has a longitudinal database? Did you know that when we set up a longitudinal database, because it's federal law that they can't set up a massive database, each state set one up separately, but they're all the same. So they're all interconnected. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that. I bet you that hasn't been shared with you guys either. That's school board members. Isn't it funny the stuff that you don't that doesn't hear from me? This is stuff that your superintendent should be telling you. Why do I have to tell school board members and your parents about the importance of data privacy? This is just
Be right before the third grade here. This is the agenda.
I do appreciate your courtesy in this. I think that, I appreciate that you asked a question about data privacy. That this is important to you, because let me tell you something. These are your kids. These will be your grandkids. You have no idea the amount of data that's being collected on them right now. Have any of you gone to the state to see what they're collecting through your UPI on your kids? Didn't think so. Have you? Didn't think so. Start going and saying, I want to know all the data that is collected on my kids. So maybe they'll think twice about collecting it. When you shine a light on it, then a lot of times, maybe they're not so interested in it.
Thank you.